Okay, so factoring quadratics, so trinomials now. So here's kind of our method that we're looking at. So first thing you're going to do is look for a GCF. Okay, so that's what we did the other day on Monday. Look for a GCF. If there is none, okay, then we look at it. If it's a trinomial, okay, so trinomial, tri means 3, right? So I have 3 terms. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so x squared is a term, 6x is a term, and 5 is a term. So in number 1, there's no GCF, right? Because there's no number here, and 5 doesn't have an x, right? So no GCF. So I do have a trinomial. So here's my method for factoring trinomials. So you can call this, I think some people call it AC method. I've heard it called X puzzle method just because it has an X here. So that's what we're looking at. We're making this X. So up top is A times C. And on the bottom is going to be the B value. So again, remember, when we look at these, it's A x squared plus bx plus c. Okay? And for the most part, they're going to be in this order. Okay? For the most part, they're going to be right in this order. So A times C, in this case, here A is all 1 in these first ones. So A is 1, 1 times 5 is 5, so that's what goes in the top. Keep the signs with it. So if it's a negative 5, make it negative in there. Okay? B is in the bottom, so positive 6 in the bottom. Okay? So now, next thing is I look for my factors. Okay? Find those factors that add or subtract to this bottom value. So if I look at 5, 5 really only has 2 factors, right? Because it's prime. 1 and 5. Do 1 and 5 add or subtract to get 6? Yeah. Well, they add, yeah. Either one. Okay, so we're looking either way. So 1 and 5. So 1 plus 5 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay? Now, here's what's nice. If A is 1, I can go straight to my answer now. My answer always is going to have 2 sets of parentheses. Okay? The variable goes in the front, and it's just one of them. So x in the front. These numbers go in the back, whatever sign they are. So in this case, we have a plus 1 and then plus 5. Now, these 2 sets of parentheses don't necessarily matter. I could have x plus 5, x plus 1, as long as what's inside is the same. Okay? So this order doesn't matter, right? When we multiply. So these 2 are the same. Okay, so this is A is 1. Okay? Find our AC, find our B, look at our factors of the top, see which ones add or subtract to get that bottom. Okay? So take a look at number 2. So let's do our, so AC on top. AC is 1 times 15, so positive 15. B is in the bottom, positive 8. So factors of 15, 1 and 15. 2 does not go into 15. 3 and 5. Does 4 go into 15? No. And once I get back to this other side, those are all the factors, right? Now which ones add or subtract to give me 8? 3, 5. So in this case, I need to add both of them together, right, to get a positive 8. So then my answer, 2 parentheses, x plus 3, x plus 5. Okay? So yeah, change your x's to y's since our variable is y. All right, number 3. So what goes in the top of my x? 20. So 1 times 20 is positive 20. And negative 9 goes in the bottom. Okay? So factors of 20. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 and nothing, 4, 5. And I'm back around here. So those are all my options. Now which ones add or subtract to give me 9? 4 and 5. Now, to give me a negative 9, what do I have to have? But I have to have a positive 20. Okay? So here's a couple things to remember. If this top value is 20, positive, I only have two options. They're both positive or they're both negative. Okay? Because the only way to get a positive number when I multiply is the same sign, right? Does that make sense? So if this top is positive, they're both positive or they're both negative. So in this case, they have to be both negative. So negative 4 minus 5 gives me negative 9. So again, a is 1, so straight to my answer now. Variable's a, so a minus 4, a minus 5. Now again, you can always double check to make sure your answers are correct. Okay? So again, if I take a look at my first terms multiplied together, a times a is a squared. So that works out, right? If I look at my last terms, negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. Well, that works out. And these in the bottom, negative 4 times a, negative 5 times a. Again, if I combine those together, negative 4 minus 5, negative 9a, and that's my middle. Okay, so you can always double check if you want to make sure you got it right by multiplying those together. Okay, first for the outside, inside, and then bottoms. Okay, so you're just foiling those. The first outer, inner, left. If you want. All right, try number 4. We'll put it up here on the board then in a minute. Check it. So what goes in my x? What goes on top? 21 on the bottom. Negative 10. Who has my factors? Factors of 21 that give me negative 10. Yeah, 3 and 7. So negative 3, negative 7. So then my answer is what? W minus 3, W minus 7. So now let's take a look. Well, what if A is not 1? So we got this other side here. Okay? So A is not 1 here. So first thing we do is look for what? Yeah, so okay, so let's multiply A times C. So 2 times 12, positive 24. B is what? 10. Now, these get a little bit harder because this top number gets a little bigger because we're multiplying two numbers together. Okay? So now, again, let's think about 24. Factors of 24, 1 and 24. And again, I like to go right down the order. Okay? So then 2. Does 2 go into 24? Yep, 2 and 12. Does 3 go into 24? 3 and 8. 4 go into 24? 4 and 6. 5 go into 24? Nope. Back to 6, right? There's all my factors. Now, which ones give me 10 when I add or subtract them? 4 and 6. What else do you notice? 2 and 12, right? Now, here's what, so I have to actually have two options. Okay, so sometimes you get two options. And it's really only certain numbers like 24. I think numbers like this can kind of give you two options where it gives you the same value, okay, when you add or subtract them. Now, again, top number's positive, so they have to be the same sign, okay? So if I add them together, which one's giving me 10? 4 and 6, okay? Now, the other thing you can do is you can plug it in, try it, see if it works, okay? But again, knowing that this is positive up top means that these answers have to be the same sign. So they're both positive or they're both negative, okay? So based off this bottom value, that's kind of what, or this top value kind of tells me which one I'm going to pick, okay? So in this case, both positive, 4, positive 6, okay? That gives me that 10, right? Now, we're going to start out go the same kind of way here, okay? This A value goes in the front of both of them. So 2p, okay? Not the square, just the 2p, okay? So 2p goes in the front. What we got goes in the back, plus 4, plus 6, okay? And then the last step is we need this A value goes in the bottom. So 2. Now, when this happens, I have to factor out, I have to find GCF of these two that make this bottom number, or this A value, okay? I'm always going to get two numbers that either multiply together or that is, in this case, it's just going to be a 2, okay? Because 2 is prime. So I'm going to get a 2 up here that I can cancel these out. These always cancel out, okay? So when I look at this first one, does 2 go into both 2 and 4? Yes. So really this is saying 2 times p plus 2, right? Taking that GCF out. Now, does 2 go into 6? Yes. So actually this one comes out 2. And again, I'm factoring that out. So p plus 3. So I'm taking out that GCF. Now, one of these 2's, because this is all multiplied, okay, parentheses and 2, one of these 2's cancel, so I'm just going to cancel this one and this one. So my final answer is 2, p plus 2, p plus 3, and I'm done, okay? So, similar to what we did earlier, okay, A numbers go in the top, in the fronts, and we have to factor that A value back out then in the end. Okay? Alright, let's do number 6 here. So number 6, I'm going to start making my X's a little smaller here. So A times C, so 3 times 4 is what? 12, positive. B is negative 8. Now, factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, I'm done. Which 2 add or subtract to give me 8? 2 and 6. So 2 and 6. And what do my signs need to be? Both negatives. Okay, so again, this bottom's negative, top's positive, so they have to have the same signs, right? Top's positive, same sign. So let's take this 3 out front. So I have 3t minus 2, 3t minus 6, and I'm dividing it by 3, right? Now, if you don't want to rewrite this whole thing, that's okay, okay? Because I probably wouldn't want to if I'm you. So what I would do is this. So looking at this first set of parentheses, 3t minus 2, does anything factor out? Is there a number of 3 and 2 that have in common? No. What about the second one, 3 and 6? Yes. What factors out? The 3. So yeah, again, remember, I need to get a 3 out, right? So I'm looking. So a 3 comes out, and if I factor out a 3, what's left? T minus 2. So if you just want to write it up above, that's fine, and cross it out. I'm good with that. As long as you're kind of neat with it, okay? And organized, you can kind of see that then. Okay? Now, again, what cancels with this 3? This 3 we factored out, right? So that's what I'm getting rid of. 3 goes away, and what's left? 3t minus 2 and t minus 2, and I'm done. Alright, so I want you to give me the information on this next one. So, making my x, right? Trinomial. A times c is what? 5 times 12 is 60. Big number. And then bottom is going to be what? 19. So my b is positive 19. Now, factors of 60 are what? 1 and 60, and does 2 go into it? 2 and what? 30. 3 go into it? Yep, 3 and 20. 4 go into 60? Yes, 4 and 15. 5 go into 60? Yes, 5 and 12. 6 go into 60? Yes, 6 and 10. 7? No. 8? No. 9? No. So there's all my factors. 60's got a lot. Okay? Which ones could be more than one? Give me 19. Maybe there's only one. Which ones give me 19? What is it? 15 and 4. So 15 and 4. Now again, I like to figure out my signs now. What signs are they going to be? Again, positive, so they're both the same, right? So top number's positive. Both signs the same. Are they both positive or negative?
Positive.
Both positives. So now let's set this up. What goes in my parentheses? What goes in the front? 5x goes in the front of both. What goes in the back then? So 5x plus 4 and 5x plus 15. Now again, I'm dividing by what? 5. That's what I want to factor out. Okay? So, what can simplify here? Where's my GCF at? Second set of parentheses. And what is that GCF? What can factor out? 5. So 5 comes out. If I divide by 5, what do I get left over? X. And then 15 divided by 5 is? X plus 3. So again, this is gone. So now, cancel what? Top and bottom, I can cancel the 5s. And what's left? 5x plus 4 and x plus 3. Okay. Alright, so number 8 can get really big. So, we've kind of forgotten rule number 1. What's rule number 1? Does it have a GCF? Okay. In this case, what's my GCF? 3. Now, if we look back up here to number 5, what do you notice? 2, 10, 12. They all have a 2. Okay. So if I factored out a 2 at the beginning, now my A becomes a 1, and I don't have to do this factoring at the end. Okay? Does that make sense? So if it has a GCF, take it out. Okay? Because 1, it's going to make your numbers smaller, first thing. And 2, it may make that A value a 1, which makes that factoring so much easier, right? So factor out. In this case, we have a 3. So 3 gets factored out. Dividing everything then by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so 3k squared. 66 divided by 3, 22, okay? And 21 divided by 3, 7. Now, let's do our x, right? And again, we're still looking at the a and c, so 3 and 7 now make, 3 times 7 makes 21 on the top. B value is 22. So what can I plug in here? What factors of 21 make 22? 1 and 21, right? And then what do my signs need to be? Both being positive, because 1 plus 21 makes 22. So now, again, just don't forget this 3, bring it down. So 3, and then parentheses, 3k plus 1, 3k plus 21. And this is going to get all divided by 3, right? So of my parentheses, which one can get factored? Which one has a GCF? Second one. What is that GCF?
7.
So 3 can come out of there, right? So what's left then is k plus 7. So 3 factored out, k plus 7 left. Now, again, this 3 needs canceled out, right? So 3 that I factored out, 3 there. Again, it didn't really matter which 3 you canceled out, either one. Okay? So if you cancel this first one out, just make sure that number goes out front typically. Okay? So the number goes out front, so 3's out front, and then in the parentheses we have 3k plus 1 and k plus 7. Okay? So, factoring trinomials, okay? A value, a little easier. If a is not 1, then we got to do a little bit of work, okay?